What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 yet again. Talk about this rumor about third-party games and see if it makes a point that I've kind of been saying the last couple of weeks about the power level of the Switch 2. I'll get into that in a second. First, let's talk about the actual rumor. So, from PH Brazil, which is a pretty darn reliable leaker just in general, just in case anybody cares, how powerful is the Switch 2 really? Powerful enough that basically every third party is considering supporting it with its most ambitious AAA titles. This is very different from what has happened in the past when some of these companies would support Nintendo platforms with conversions of older games or maybe recent but not so ambitious ones. And he mentions Ubisoft, EA, Bandai Namco, Capcom, Sega, and Microsoft. Now, you could say this is like a one-off, it's just one person, and if this person is wrong, then the whole thing kind of falls apart. We've heard more and more, though, about the third-party stuff, about different games that are going to be jumping in, whether it's Assassin's Creed Shadows, and you kind of go down like the specific companies, right? Ubisoft, we've heard Konami might actually be doing Metal Gear Solid 3, the remake, that might be on it. We've heard the Microsoft stuff, not just coming to PlayStation, right? Halo and all these, which would just be crazy just to see it on your PlayStation. How about seeing it on your Switch too? Because there's rumors of that too. So yeah, you can say it's one person here, one person there, but we have heard this before, and we've heard specific companies, whether it's Konami, Ubisoft, Xbox, things like that. So I am willing to kind of believe it that it's going to be powerful enough. And that's kind of what I want to lead with here. That's the rest of this video. I want to kind of talk about it. I've talked over the last couple of weeks about the kind of back and forth of the power level of the Switch 2. And look, I'm not opposed to having powerful consoles. I kind of want the world's most powerful consoles, but as I've gotten older and as I've bought more and more, and I've been around long enough to experience several of these generations, a lot of the time it's just talk, and not saying that these aren't powerful consoles, but what you get out of them it doesn't always match. Just because you have the world's most. Remember when Xbox said that, right? Series X, world's most powerful console. Are they pushing games in every possible way to make the game the best thing that the Xbox Series X can run, right? Like, are they pushing the Series X to its absolute max? And the answer is no. The answer is a lot of games, day to day, month to month, year to year, a lot of games that have come out this generation have struggled. They're better on one console versus the next. They need patches for the first 4 months in order to even work. Like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Okay, we've seen it. Actually, let's bring in the Switch. You've seen incredibly lazy ports that look atrocious, right? WB has been an example of that with something like Mortal Kombat. We all saw what Mortal Kombat 1 look like on the Switch. It shouldn't even be on there. You see something like Life is Strange, Double Exposure from Square Enix, looks atrocious. But is it really a testament to the console, or should we be talking more about like the teams that were making them? Because when you have Xenoblade Chronicles that runs very well and is a big game and is a big world, then you have like a Pokemon game that maybe runs terribly or looks terrible, right? We've had both. We've had games that I think can take advantage of what's necessary, right? The Switch 1 is not that powerful. I mean, especially by nowadays standards, it's not powerful whatsoever. If you really put in the time and care, you can do an okay job. You can do okay enough. And again, that's kind of my point. When it comes to the Switch 2, is it going to be as powerful as the PS5 or Series X? No, it's not. There's no way, right? People have compared it to even like the PS4 Pro and said maybe it's even going to be weaker than that. The thing is, those are still okay powerful consoles, and if the work is put in, can you run Assassin's Creed Shadows on those things? If you try, if you actually optimize it specifically for that, yes, you could. And you could do that for any game. On top of what I've said before, I don't think people that buy the Switch even care. When the Switch becomes the second highest selling console of all time, which it already is, right? And it might even beat the PS2 one day, that should show you right there, especially because a lot of those sales have come, say, in the last 5-6, it's been around a while, but the next gen consoles have been out since 2020. So if power was all that these people cared about, these buyers of the Switch, wouldn't they have stopped 4 plus years ago? You know what I mean? And again, I think you can have your preference. I'm not saying, if it's not powerful enough for you, it's not powerful enough for you. that's fine. I'm not here to necessarily disagree, but what I would throw at you is it powerful enough for the majority of people? And I think the answer is yes, right? And now that you're getting these rumors, well, if it's powerful enough to run like the Master Chief Collection, it doesn't have to run it 10 out of 10. It doesn't have to run it as well as the Xbox Series X can run it, but can it be playable and on the Switch too? And as long as the answer to that is yes, from the Switch's point of view and Nintendo's point of view, it's fine. It's fine. And I think from the industry, it's going to help. When Hogwarts Legacy goes on the Switch and just sells a couple million without really thinking twice, I feel like that would excite anybody, any company, right? Where that's the mindset. Well, if we can just get this game to work on the Switch too, optimize it, yes, but if we can just get it to work, you might get a couple easy million sales, maybe half a million, maybe 300,000 just by putting the thing on the Switch. There's such a big player base there that honestly, that's been trained to get the discount That's the thing you got to think about too, right? The Switch throughout its whole life has always gotten discounted versions of these AAA or just any game, really any game besides first party. They've gotten the discounted versions of. They've gotten them a year later, so they've had to wait for them. They've gotten worse versions. I don't know if there's been any version of any game that runs better on the Switch than it does on the other consoles. Maybe it exists, but it's not. You're not going to come up with a massively long list, right? That's just the way that it is. Now imagine if that doesn't happen, but games still come out on the Switch. I think it could do quite well, right? We're talking about games that can do pretty okay coming out on the Switch 1, again, a year after they come out, or they're not the best version of those games. Those are two to me, those are things that would hold me back forever buying a game. I don't think I have any third-party game on the Switch. I have the Fire Emblems and the Marios and the Metroid, Kirby, and any game you can, well, not any game, but I have an okay Switch collection. They're all first-party games throughout the history that the Switch 1 has been around. I don't have any of these, and I would kind of like to maybe eventually, but I don't have any third-party game from any of these other companies that put on, because in my opinion, I've already bought it once, and then also, again, you're getting, I think, the worst version of it, but number one, that doesn't stop most people, and number two, what if some of those things were removed, right? What if I didn't think that? What if when the Switch 2 comes out, you can have games come out day and date? Well, that helps it right there. And then number two, what if they actually can at least match the quality? Maybe they still can't. I don't think they will, just factually, like the Switch 2 isn't going to be more powerful than, say, the PS5. So that will always, hopefully, and I say hopefully because it should be the better version of the game if the console is more powerful. That's not always guaranteed, but you would assume that should be the case. But I think that would massively help, and maybe that would even convince somebody like me that will support the Switch 2, will buy the first-party games. Maybe I pick up a third-party game every now and then on the Switch versus my PlayStation or Xbox, right? So I think they're okay, and I've been saying that for a couple weeks, but it's interesting this rumor kind of comes out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.